According to Monitoring the Future survey, high school boys are becoming more conservative, while high school girls are getting more liberal on the other hand. Before we discuss some opinions and reasons behind this phenomenon, it is worth knowing how the survey was conducted and what the sample size was. According to the details listed about this survey, about 32,000 students in 319 public and private secondary schools participated in the study, with sample sizes of about 9,000 in 12th grade. Survey was administered to students during class or at home using a web-based questionnaire. This is what Michael Knowles from Daily Wire thinks the reason is.
High school boys are becoming more right-wing. This according to a new survey out from the Monitoring the Future survey. This is a scholarly endeavor that dates back about 50 years. The boys are becoming more conservative. The 12th grade girls are becoming more liberal. So, good news and bad news. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But the trend, at least for the boys, is in the right direction. Why is this happening? I think this is happening in part because we've destroyed marriage and the notion that boys and girls are complementary. So rather than boys and girls moving closer and closer together, recognizing how they fit together, and is that euphemistic or is that no? It's metaphorical as well. That recognizing that we each have something to add, and men really need women, and women really need men, and we're going to move together and become one flesh and be of one mind. The libs have destroyed marriage, and so when women get married, they become more conservative. And maybe men moderate some of their extremism too. When they stay apart, then they move in opposite directions. This is why a society with a proper understanding of marriage will be more conservative, and a society that disregards marriage and abolishes marriage and redefines it is going to become more liberal. We've just seen that in real time. Also, everyone's going to give their hot take on why the young boys are becoming more conservative right now. My hot take as to why this is happening is because we're living in a world that is more virtual. Kids are not going out and climbing trees as much. They're not racing fast cars as much. They're not going on physical adventures as much. The society is becoming much more focused on computers and video games and staying in your apartment and consuming content, and it's just not as vigorous and physical as it used to be. And so, because young boys are inclined toward extreme behavior and risky behavior that's just in our DNA, the way that is instantiated in this more virtual reality type culture is going to be through risky and edgy and controversial intellectual pursuits rather than just physical ones. That's why. To be a conservative today is to question and to oppose the entire regime, the entire liberal establishment which controls every institution. To do that is risky. It's edgy. It's extreme. It's countercultural. It's rebellious. It's all the things that young men always are. But whereas in the past, they would have gone out and smoked cigarettes and gotten drunk and driven motorcycles and I don't know, gone womanizing. But all the surveys show us young men are not doing that as much as they used to. Even with the hookup culture, they're having less sex with fewer women. So all that edginess, all that rebelliousness, all that risky behavior, that's going to be more intellectual. It's going to be more in the life of the mind. And what does that mean in a culture such as ours? In a very liberal culture, it means you become more right-wing. So that's the silver lining in a storm cloud.
Let us know what you think about what Michael said. Now let's think about it differently. Could it be the left is going too much to the left that even moderate people are not considered conservatives? In other words, the definition of being a conservative is changing, so now more people fall under that category. Here is what Tim Pool, who identifies as a liberal, said during his interview with John Stossel.
You're a person of the left, but you say it's the right that gets picked on, and now you're defending the right.
And because of that, because I so often can see, because it's plain to anybody, they're biased against conservatives, that must mean I am a conservative, they claim, which is not true. What happened to the liberals who defended free speech? What happened to the left protesting the Vietnam in the free speech era? What happened to the left at Berkeley holding up signs saying free speech? Today, the left shows up with torches and burns free speech signs. That's not the left.
It is the left. It's not the old left.
But this is what they're trying to do, and I refuse to let them. They want everyone to believe that someone like me, who is a supporter of Bernie Sanders, is a conservative. That way, actual conservatives look insane. But think about it. These people who show up burning signs that say free speech, by all metrics, are a tiny fraction of the actual population. There's a report called Hidden Tribes that show progressive activists are 8%. Of those, how many actually show up and wear masks and get violent? It's a tiny fraction. But they want you to believe they are the left so that they can take the mainstream narrative and convince middle America, if you want to be on the left like you've been your whole life, support the people who throw Molotov cocktails and bash people over the head. I'm not going to stand for that. I do not stop becoming someone on the left simply because I have always supported free expression, free speech, opposed censorship. How is it, when I was growing up, it was the religious conservatives that had the moral panic about music and swear words. But today, the moral panic is coming from the left. I think when people, they repeatedly put out this argument, like Ezra Klein tries claiming that people like me are reactionary right-wingers, which is absolutely insane, as if Ben Shapiro and I have policy positions in alignment. We don't. We absolutely disagree with each other.
Ezra Klein said what?
Ezra Klein, the founder of Vox, said that people like me, mostly Dave Rubin, are the new reactionary right because we oppose the progressives. But I'm going to tell you this. If you've got people who opposed Hillary Clinton who are still on the left, if you've got someone like Tulsi Gabbard, who recently in an interview said identity politics is dividing us, she's not a right-winger. Nancy Pelosi is not a right-winger because she criticized Ocasio-Cortez several times. No, this is a fringe faction of people who are aimless, protest themselves. I mean, there was a pride parade in Edmonton, Canada that was shut down because this fringe faction of regressive left protested gay pride. I'm pretty sure the staunch religious conservatives would be like, hey, we're glad you got the event shut down. We don't agree with that either. So it's not a left-wing position, but they're trying to claim it is. And so long as people in the mainstream media, and I'm guilty of this too, refer to this fringe group as the left, they will be the left.